Hi everyone, it's Sunday, October 15th, time for another HideNet Week in Review. I'm Vera Dordick. It was the same case last week. Business is a little quiet and interest in steers is still weak and prices are still steady, and in some cases that's a best case scenario. Heavy Texas steers were again unchanged at $25 for selections averaging 62 to 64 pounds. And just like last week, other steers were mainly steady, some weakly so. Cow prices have been unchanged pretty much since the Shanghai Fair, and they're still holding steady. Combined export sales for the week ending October 5th were 510,600, which is lower than the previous week. Combined shipments dropped by 15%, down to 565,300. Estimated slaughter for the week ending October 14th was down 2% at 617,000. Turning to Europe, editor Andrea Guolo says that uncertainty is blocking purchases, slaughterhouses are keeping prices high, and no agreements can be reached. And actually, the forecasts are declining for slaughter. British sellers are waiting for November orders, but some uncertainty is seeping into the sentiment, so they may be slow in coming. The 36 plus kilo British ox is still unchanged at 90 cents sterling per kilo, as is the Irish price at 95 cents in euros per kilo. And when it comes to European bulls, they had absolutely zero sales during the week, and the market is at a standstill. Consequently, the price for North German bulls at 40 to 49 kilos is unchanged at €1 to €1.10, and South German hides also remain unchanged. For European cows, there were some sales, but they were limited, and in some cases there were slight discounts. Slaughterhouses want more for the cow hides, but that's not happening. In his analysis this week, Andrea dissects the current situation in Europe, which is very complicated, he says. And he also notes that the current values for hides remain valid, but only on paper because tanneries are not buying at these prices. Turning to South America, editor Ronald Guial reports that, yet again, the average price of fresh hides is unchanged at 85 cents per kilo in reals. And the reference price of TR1 is also stuck at a stable level, which is 65 cents in dollars per square foot. Other Latin origins are again steady as well, except for Argentina, where actually the situation is rather chaotic ahead of the upcoming elections. In other news from Brazil, the country's September exports of hides and skins were down by a little over 11% compared to August, and 14% compared to August last year. The data comes from the Secretariat of Foreign Trade, and it was analyzed by the CICB. In volume, square meters were up by almost 4%. In tons, it was almost 2% over last year. Compared to August, though, there were decreases of almost 8% in area and 11% in weight. For the year to date, the first three quarters were actually 13% below the same period in 22 in value, but actually in area sold, they were higher by almost 10% and 20% in weight. From elsewhere in Latin America, Brazilian footwear exports are lower in volume in 2023 and in value. In Colombia, a company is asking the government to investigate PVC dumping in the country. In Mexico, 1 in 5 Leon tanneries are not implementing the water reuse system, and Peru's technical standards are ensuring leather product quality for their country. And in Uruguay, they're buying more Brazilian leather while their own exports are dropping. That is all we have for this week, and until next week, good night from HideNet.